Let's talk now about the assignment of work streams in your overall service adoption project plan. Now, what we've done is we have created a template for you of a service adoption project plan. You can go to the link shown here, aka.ms/teams adoption, and visit the tools and download page to get your own copy of this service adoption plan. It's available in Microsoft Project or as Excel, and it includes all of the various tasks that we think are important in driving adoption. So use this tool and let us know how you feel about it. We believe that you will need to alter the various tasks that are involved depending upon the size of your organization. And you'll also be copying and pasting sections as you craft experiments and go through the phases. But this will give you a starting point to understand what is required. Now, in the big picture, there are overall work streams that you need to be aware of that people need to be leaders of. And what we provided here is a grid that shows the name of the work stream, the expected outcome, the kinds of deliverables that come from that work stream, and some scoping and notes information. So if we start here at the top, we'll think about the service strategy and project plan, as well as stakeholder mapping and alignments. So the people who are working on this, and it may be one person working on multiple work streams, but the person who's working on this portion is going to help the people who are accountable for the service strategy and the project plan pull that together. And so this may be the core PM you have for the project overall that includes accountability for both technical readiness and user adoption. Or it may be you who's working directly with IT and also filling that project management role. The collaboration improvement plan, your sprint over sprint execution goals, decision logs, risks, and issues. Depends on how formal your organization is in project management, but we definitely encourage you to keep these sorts of risks and issue logs as you're going through the project planning process. And you, this person would also be the chair of the regular planning and alignment meetings. Now, next you have program communications and success stories. That's the marketing communications discipline, and it includes managing stakeholder communications, user communities, and making sure that you can tell the wins that you have along the way. So, project news and reporting assets are part of the core deliverables of that work stream. The Champions program is really the heart of making sure that your users are getting digital literacy. We've seen in research time and again that peer to peer learning is one of the most effective ways of driving education in an organization. So, somebody, however, needs to own that champions program and provide structure. The champions need to be a few orders of magnitude ahead of the users that they're trying to help. And we recommend holding monthly meetings with various training topics and providing feedback opportunities and discussion for the champions in the organization. Support readiness is usually in the domain of your support organization. Whoever provides your help desk service should be involved in this project from the beginning so that they can be ready to support the new experiences. And this includes helping them to onboard to the experience ahead of regular users so that they have good experience with the new technology. Also, they'll be doing incident support and resolution, and you'll be getting a lot of information from them about the issues that your employees are having as they're using the new capabilities. And this will help you craft your training and give information to your champions. Early adopter and programs and your feedback tools can also be rolled together into either support or champions program, or they can stand alone. You may have in a large organization somebody who's accountable for that early adopter community and managing the feedback channels. Feedback channels are things like employee surveys, enterprise social media like Yammer, and also other types of informal and in person opportunities for people to give you feedback on what's happening. The early adopters usually go first into the transition, and you may have overlap between people who are your champions and people who are your early adopters. They may be the same folks. There's also usually a type of governance or security group and this may be your information security group itself, or it may be a group of people, including business leaders, who make governance and security decisions for your company. And so the person who's in charge of this work stream may not be in charge of the entire governance and security for the company, but in your project, it will guide that body or that organization to make governance and policy decisions for each phase of your particular implementation. Technical readiness and alignment. Again, we want to emphasize that technical readiness happens simultaneously to end user adoption planning. They are two sides of the same coin of delivering a great employee experience. And the outcome there is understanding the technical implementation of the service and to ensure quality, availability, reliability, and health, and also to identify any obstacles that you may have to onboarding to the service or changes you may need to make in your existing network configuration or other technical components to use the service successfully. The people who work on technical readiness and the person who's in charge of ensuring alignment between the technical capabilities and the end user expectations also have a hand in metrics and reporting. Success metrics will come from the individual scenarios that you are improving. But reporting is available in Office 365. Usually, it requires you to be an IT admin in the Office 365 environment to access that reporting. And so you will likely be partnered up with someone in IT if you are not that IT admin of your Office 365 tenant. Business process mapping in the lightweight way that we advocate can be done by one individual if you have analysts in your organization. But I also encourage you as a service adoption specialist to talk to various people, and it can take 15 minutes to find through a quick interview people's pain points. And we have provided suggested questions to ask in those interviews in a previous section. So making sure that you're defining those scenarios to improve is the outcome of this portion. Awareness and training are often bucketed together, but they are two different things. Awareness involves influencing your employees to be interested and to be aware of the change that you're trying to drive. It also helps to create enthusiasm for the transformation that you're driving. Training is specific task based or scenario based instruction provided either in person or on demand through our tools that here at Microsoft or tools that you create in your own company that increase the digital literacy and operational efficiency of your employees. Also, the proper training approach can reduce change fatigue by really focusing on what's in it for that employee and really being centered on the employee experience itself. Lastly, from a continuous improvement perspective, you will be conducting monthly service health reviews and you'll be doing improvement prep planning. The service adoption plan, as we have it constructed, is designed to be increased to ever increasing numbers of employees, almost like in concentric circles. And so while you start small with your champions and early adopters, you experiment on key scenarios, then you'll be doing broad scale implementation and continuing to improve and deepen people's usage of the experience so you can sustain this change. So that's a process that is usually a joint effort between IT, user adoption specialists, and key stakeholders. And they can be conducted monthly in large organizations. In some smaller organizations, they happen bi-monthly or quarterly. But what's important is this gives you an opportunity to look at the health of the service, the usage of the service, as well as provide you an opportunity to provide and prioritize additional improvements or new things that you want to do with these capabilities that you have. In each of these areas, there are core tools that support each work stream, and these core tools can be found at our Teams Adoption Hub. Additional flavors of these tools will be being created for other Office 365 work streams, but for the purposes of our course, you can utilize the tools that are found at our Teams Adoption Hub. Now, these tools are only as good as the team that is coming together, and there's a lot of different ways that the team can be constructed. In a large scale corporate adoption model, You often have a worldwide executive sponsor who's driving organizational or cultural change. Sometimes they're also accountable for these sorts of technology changes, but usually technology change is or should be in support of a bigger initiative at the company. And that worldwide service adoption team is usually accountable to and reports for alignment to that executive sponsor. They partner with the IT service and support organizations, and then they work with different unit executive sponsors. And that is, think of doing this work for sales, for operations, for support, for customer service. You wouldn't want to do it all at the same time. So, the smart way to do it is to identify the key pain points of those different units and work with them individually on a rolling schedule. All of these people are ultimately supported by the local teamwork champions in that particular business unit. There are people who not only understand the technology or the change you're trying to drive, but they understand the business itself and the people within it, and they know how to provide that support. Now, in some situations, you will find that you're not doing this sort of large scale corporate adoption model. What you're doing instead is an individual solution. And so in this scenario, what you have is a unit executive sponsor, and that is as high as your executive sponsorship goes in the organization. Maybe you have a chief marketing officer who wants to transform the way he does campaign management. And so then you have someone who is the sponsor of that individual scenario. They're the success owner for that scenario. And then you have these unit teamwork champions and people who will use that solution. And they work with the development and design team who is creating that particular scenario for improvement. All of these people are still supported by an organizational service adoption team, but in this case, that may be one or two people. It may not be very large, and it depends upon the size of your organization. But the key here is in whatever model you choose to use, having executive sponsorship, having someone with deep business knowledge as your success owner, making sure you have champions and you have the right kind of IT service support and technical readiness will enable you to be successful as you are both assigning the work from the various work streams as well as crafting this band of change agents who are going to drive through sustainable change and technology literacy throughout your organization.